Hey everyone! I want to talk about a new card game that I have been recently playing called SolForge Fusion. Now, this base set, the initial game, launched back in October of 2022, and the first expansion, Battle for Whitefang Pass, just launched at the end of February 2023. Now, there are some really cool things that I want to talk about with this game and why I have been so attracted to it. So in this base starter kit, there is everything you need to learn to play the game, and we'll go through what's in here, but the first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that it is a hybrid deck game, and it's made by someone that you probably recognize with Richard Garfield and Justin Gary. These are some of the original creators of Magic the Gathering, as well as other games like Ascension. So in this starter kit, if you are a new player as well, I definitely recommend starting with the starter kit just to give you a base level reference. It also does include the play mats that have what you'll need to be able to understand the lanes before you start diving into more of the expansions and more in-depth gameplay. So here is the mat that it comes with. You can see that there are various lanes. Each lane has 2 sections on it. There's a spot for your deck, upgrade cards, and banish, forge, as well as discard and Forgeborn. Now, in this game, there are what are called the Forge, and they have double-sided cards, just like this. For the Forge to be active, it is colored. If it's not active, it's uncolored. For anyone who knows card games, this is very similar to the attack token in Legends of Runeterra. The starter kit also comes with a list of some keywords and their descriptions so that you can become a little bit more familiar with some of the keywords and how they work. The starter kit also includes some of these minion token cards that you will need for playing, as well as 4 half decks. Now, these half decks each come with their own Forgeborn, and the Forgeborn are essentially the leaders, the champions that you get with each. In SolForge Fusion, there are 4 different factions. They are essentially the 4 different colors for the game: purple, red, green, and blue. Each time you open a starter kit or any type of booster kit, it will have one of each of the colored factions. As I mentioned, each of these is what they call a half deck, and the way that you play the game, because it is a hybrid deck game, you will choose 2 of these half decks to combine together from any of the starter kits or booster kits that you open. Now, you cannot combine 2 of the same faction for your deck, so you could not put a purple from the starter kit and a purple from a booster kit together to make one deck. But you could put the purple from the starter kit along with a red from another together to form your deck. On the Forgeborn card, you can see that each Forgeborn has 3 different levels. They are mixed and vary depending on which version of a Forgeborn that you open. Their abilities will be different across the different levels. And on the back, it will show you the deck list of what cards came with this specific Forgeborn, so you'll know exactly which cards you have, and if you combine them, you'll know exactly which ones go back together. You can also see that there is a QR code and that unique deck number, and it tells you what set it came from as well. Online, you can actually scan this QR code after you set up an account to be able to play these decks either through the online tabletop simulator or to be able to register these decks and play in tournaments. In SolForge Fusion, the decks have 3 versions of each card, a level 1, 2, and level 3 version of the cards. And throughout the game, you get to level these cards up by playing the prior version and then setting aside your upgrade cards to be played in future turns. If you want to learn how to play, check out my full how to play video that'll be linked down below. But one of the best things that I love about SolForge Fusion is the fact that these decks are already pre-built. I am not a very good deck builder, and I really struggle with being able to find a great way to create decks, and in physical cards especially, having to build a deck, even if it's a meta type deck that you might find online or you've watched some of the best players play in big tournaments, you have to go buy those cards as singles, and that can get very expensive. But in SolForge Fusion, you can buy these starter kits or a booster kit for around $20 to $25 and have multiple variations of decks that you just put two halves together and you have your deck. It might not have the most impressive cards, not every deck will have legendaries, but you'll be able to at least get some decks and play regardless of what you open or not. And that is one thing that I absolutely love about the game. If you want to go buy more to find some of those more rare cards or find legendaries, you absolutely can, but it's not necessary for being able to play or even to play in tournaments. You can absolutely take these starter decks to some of the local tournaments or even some of the tournaments at conventions and be able to play with these even from the starter kit. And to me, that is very, very appealing, especially for those of us who aren't necessarily very close to a lot of tournaments or local stores that have SolForge Fusion because it is a more new game. And if you are interested in checking out what opening a booster kit actually looks like to see the cards and what opening those look like, go ahead and check into this video next to check out what I open in these Battle for Whitefang Pass booster kits. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.